So, Quincy, I know on your show you dealt with the 6 Browns that we should be excited about. Let's start with the center, Ethan Pocic. What do you like about him? We've talked about him earlier in this week and actually last week too. That's a guy that they probably need to start talking about trying to re-sign.
That's a big question, right? That's the question with Ethan. He's a top 5 center right now. If you look at like a lot of different metrics, he's been up there. But the question you have to ask yourself is, one, do you think Nick Harris would be in this same position if he were in this same spot? And the reason I say that is because Joe Bitonio is one of the best guards in football. Wyatt Teller's been one of the best guards in football, and he's been able to maintain this level of play. But Yodi Freeholt has been out there, and he's still been really good, right? Like, you have to ask yourself, is he legit a top 5 center? And do we just need to pay him because we found a top 5 center similar to Wyatt Teller? Or do we think it's more the position of why he's being successful, that we just have such a great spot for a guy like that? Yeah. That's going to be a question for him. He's really good, though. Either way, he's going to be a good center. It's just a question of, did you turn a good center into a great one because you have him in a great position? And do you think Nick Harris is a good center that you can turn into a great one? Similarly, that'd be something going forward.
I would
agree.
Sione
Taki's another guy. My bad.
No, go.
Sione Taki's another guy that I was thinking about. Where it's like, okay, now that you see he can play a little bit of Mike linebacker, he has some versatility out there, because the big knock on Taki was he's only a run-stuffing linebacker, right? He can only stop the run. He's been pretty good in all phases for this team, right? And he's probably been the most consistent linebacker out of everybody. And the question is going to be next year, hey, do you give him a contract? Do you extend him? Do you also bring back A-Walk? What do you do with that rotation? A lot of questions to be asked there. Do you just bring back Taki, let A-Walk walk? What do you do there? That's going to be important. Donovan Peoples-Jones is somebody who has made the step that we thought he was going to make last year, he made this year. And ironically enough, it's with Jacoby Brissett. We have not seen him with Deshaun Watson yet, right? Like somebody who can really fit his route style, which is anticipatory, give him a chance to make a play on the ball. He's doing this with Jacoby Brissett. He's on pace for 1,000 yards. He has been a perfect complement to Amari Cooper, and it's amazing the difference a year makes, Dave. Because a year ago, I had no confidence in this wide receiving and this passing attack, because it just didn't seem like they can get anything done. Even when like they were down to the 3rd string corners, right? Some teams were. Now it's at the point to where I was kind of looking at the Browns when they were running those like 2-yard runs in the 3rd quarter. And I was like, they got nobody on Amari Cooper you feel like can cover him. I wouldn't mind if you just threw it to Coop. You know what I mean? Because he's probably going to get open. And what happened? He definitely got open. 141 yards or something like that last week. So now you have confidence at wide receiving core because of those two. They'll probably look to add another body in the offseason. But those two have been good enough to where you can get things done. And like Martin Emerson, I can't say enough about Martin Emerson. Like, he's not just good for a 3rd-round pick. He's good for a rookie cornerback. Like, I would say Sauce is still number 1 out of everybody in that class. But you can make an argument that Martin Emerson might be the 2nd-best corner in that draft, above Derek Stingley, because he is so good at what he's asked to do. And that's asked to cover some of these bigger targets, these tight ends, these wide receivers. It used to be a trope that the Browns didn't know how to cover tight ends, right? It's something I still hear today, but that's so false. Because were you aware, Dave, that Mark Andrews had no stats versus the Cleveland Browns when they played last time? Also, did you hear Hayden Hurst's name at all Monday night? I don't remember hearing Hayden Hurst's name at all. Right, the difference is exponentially like great that Martin Emerson has brought here. He's been in there in place of Denzel Ward, and we haven't really done our usual complaining about Denzel Ward being injured, just because, hey, we got Martin. Martin's fine out there. Like, we're not really that worried about it. And when a talent like Denzel Ward goes out and you're not that stressed about it because you have somebody to step up that tells you that you got something in 23 over there. Alex Wright has been phenomenal. I wasn't a fan of this pick coming out of UAB, but he's been an inside-outside guy. He was real useful last week, being able to use him as a 3-tech occasionally against these teams that can't run the ball. Look for him to be important against Tampa Bay. Look for him to be important important next week versus Miami, and look for him to be important versus the Bills, right? Those are all three teams that aren't the greatest run the football teams in the NFL. So these next 3 weeks are going to be important for Alex Wright. What I've seen so far has been good. He seems like somebody who next year can take that step to being the guy that can cover for Jadeveon Clowney if you cannot keep him. And then Isaiah Thomas is going to be another important guy as that third man in that rotation. Now that you have those rotations in set, it's nice to see that the Browns can give Myles Garrett a breather like they did on Monday night, and the defense doesn't completely fall apart like it has in years past when it was like Porter Gustin and Joe Jackson out there, right? Now that you have IT out there and it's Alex Wright, and then you can bring on Clowney, or you can rotate Clowney in. Sometimes you can rotate Myles Garrett in. You have flexibility. So when Myles is in there, he's fresh. And boy, my goodness, a fresh Myles Garrett is one of the most terrifying things I have to think for an offensive tackle. Did you see the spin move that he put on Jonah Williams? Like, I don't know what you do about that. Like, that's one of those, like, I don't know if I can play in the league anymore. They're going to do stuff like this. Like, that was a Von Miller level spin move from a guy who's like twice the size as Von Miller. Like, that was incredible. But all those things aside, he's allowed to do those things because Alex Wright has stepped up, and a 7th round rookie in Isaiah Thomas has also stepped up.